Welcome to the Art of Connection, Muslim Matters Edition. I'm your host, Bilal Khan, and this piece is about crowdsourcing. And one of the challenges that we see a lot today in, at least in the American Muslim community, the idea of crowdsourcing and fundraising and building a new masjid for the communities or expanding the place to pray. People really don't care about this. It's an unprecedented amount of information that we are being bombarded today continuously. Every day, throughout the day, people asking for our attention, asking for our energies, asking for our resources, our wealth, our reputation, and so on, that we can lend to or toward for whatever it is that they're trying to do. If you're trying to fundraise, there's a number of questions that you need to be able to answer with real honesty. The first question that you want to be able to ask yourself is, whatever you're doing, is it really timely? Now, I have a buddy of mine. His name is Ali. He's from the DC area originally, a former Marine. And he, embraced Islam earlier in his life, and then later moved out to Indonesia, where he's working. And the community that he moved into, they didn't have a mosque, and essentially there's Muslims there. There's also a lot of non-Muslims there as well. So he decided to get engaged with the local community and try to help them crowdsource and fundraise. I was asking him, hey, would it be cool for me to share your story, and just kind of like the thought process that we went into it. And he said, yeah, what he's doing is definitely great. It's definitely noble. And the kind of resources that we have here in the US, they actually go quite far out there. But I think it'd be less about the idea of building a mosque, which is all noble and stuff, but the idea of following the story of this individual. And this goes to my first point. The idea that, oh, you're doing something because it is of great humanitarian benefit. That's great, but that's not a timely thing. In fact, that's timeless. People have been suffering throughout the ages. How is that something new, right? How is that something that should be worthy of my attention apart from all the other stuff that's going on and asking for my attention now? So the first question you need to ask about yourself is, whatever it is that you're doing, the project that you have, the attention that you're trying to grab for yourself, what's timely about it? Question number two, what you're presenting to people in terms of what you're trying to get from them. Is there any level of proximity to the people that you're asking? So in the case of my buddy here, he's out in Indonesia. So the question is, what has close proximity to the people in the US? If you think about it, he's from the US. So he could be the guy where people have close proximity to. And the idea would be here to maybe somehow tell a story that, hey, I'm an American just like you. What's unique about me is that, I wasn't born Muslim. I was actually, in fact, a convert to Islam. And now I'm actually on this other side of the globe experiencing this whole community here. And I decided I'm going to follow in on this project. It'd be great for you to follow along. Now you got their attention. Now you're basically trying to hook them, or you've tried to hook them into the story of your story, that at least from what I was advising him. So whatever you've got going on is, what's the level of proximity? It could be just the fact that whatever you're doing is in close proximity to yourself there. So if you're doing a community fundraiser or cause or whatever you got going on, it would be more relevant to the people that are close by as opposed to somebody that's in the next town or the next state or even in another country. Question number three is, what's new, right? What's novel about it? What's being done that has not been done before? Right? So I presented, at least for my buddy who's out in Indonesia, one of the things I was asking him, what's different about this community that they would be doing that's different? I mean, because every community is trying to build a mosque, right? Whenever there's Muslims, they got to have a mosque, right? They got to have a place to pray. What's new? That's not new. That's nothing new. So what's novel about this? So this is going to sound totally racist, but I thought it was a funny thought at the time. So don't judge. The idea was that, all right, you're in a land where there's a bunch of Asians, and there's a stereotype, however bad this may be, that people will eat cats. Just follow the thought process. So we're going to build a safe haven for cats. And we're going to present this on the internet because the internet love cats and people want to save cats. In fact, they'll raise money to save a single cat. And we can call it Masjid Abu Huraira, right? The Huraira, for those people who don't know in Islamic history and tradition, there was one of the companions of the Prophet Muhammad, may peace and blessing be upon him, whose name was Abu Huraira, and they gave him that nickname because Huraira was like a cat. You know how the cat lady, he was a cat guy. So the idea is like, hey, what if you have this mosque where there's a safe haven for cats? And essentially that's where they keep all the cats. That would be something new and novel. And so be able to present it from that angle. So again, the question is, what's novel about what you're doing? And this brings me into the next question, number 4, is there anything maybe potentially funny about it, right? Is there something that could be entertaining, perhaps, or even controversial. So, just the kind of racist joke that I presented here about Asians. And in case anybody's wondering, I am also Asian, although subcontinent Asian. So, side note, I was in high school and there were a bunch of Korean kids, and I had a buddy of mine who was playing football, who was on the football team with me. And so I go over to him with the group of, because high school, a bunch of cliques and stuff. So I went over to them, and one of the girls goes, "Nah, this group is for Asians only." I'm like, I am Asian. And then, she had that look like, yeah, okay. So no, I meant Pacific Asian. But side point. So again, don't hold the cat joke against me. Okay, number 5, the question that you want to address is, who's the personality? Or is there any personality that you can attach to this project or this story that's going to be going? Because at the end of the day, people, when it comes to stories, they want to attach themselves to a person. So who is the person that you're following or you're trying to attach themselves to? In the case of this mosque project, the idea was, hey, you be the personality. You be the story that people are going to attach themselves to. And if there's anybody local, or if you're going to do a video series or a vlog series, each episode you can feature somebody local. Heck, you can even have one of the main characters be a local cat. That's your pet. And the pet's name is Huraira, and you're building Masjid Abu Huraira. This is an idea. So we're trying to tie all of these different factors into the idea of trying to garner people's attention. Question number 6 is, what's the conflict? What's the struggle? Now, people, when they're following a story and they want to engage in on something, what makes for a good story is the fact that there is struggle, that there is conflict, characters trying to go from point A to point B. And through that process of getting to point B at the end of the scene, they face conflicts, they face complications, they face situations where they might have to make a U-turn, or they face detours where they have to take a whole different path to get to point B. That's what makes the story interesting. So the question is, what are the conflicts? In the case of a community, now I'm not saying, in fact, you should stay away from fabricating stories or lies or things like that, because then, that kind of stuff kind of really rubs people the wrong way once something like that comes through. But, what's the genuine conflict that people are trying to address? I'll give you an example. A buddy of mine, he was telling me a story about how they wanted to build a school in Sudan. People always trying to build schools, right? You hear about, education is important. And so everybody's trying to bring that virtue to their community. So, but what's different about this? Well, the situation was that people in this particular village, they would go to school, I guess in another village, it was a little bit far. And in fact, one of the girls from the village was in fact harassed. Now, I don't know the full story of what exactly happened, but it's something that impacted the community so much. And in the way that they saw it is that they need to build a school in their community to keep their children safe from not having to traverse the long distance that they would have to go for a school that's so far away. And the local folks there, they're not able to protect their children. And so the conflict became the fact that their children are in danger. And education is so important, yet they have to face so much struggle to be able to do that. That's some sort of conflict that needs to come into play. So the question is, what is the conflict here? These are the answers that you need to kind of bring about so that people can give attention to the project that you've got going on. Finally, the last question here is that you need to consider is, what is the potential impact of this thing being completed? And what do I mean by that? Well, if you think about it, why do people care about the Middle East so much and the Middle East conflict? Well, in reality is that whatever is happening over there affects our pockets here in like gas prices, right? So whatever's happening in Iran or the Middle East and relationships and treaties and so on, part of it is impacting our wallet and bank accounts because of how much we put into our cars, because our transportation system and economy and shipping and logistics and all that is majorly affected just by the rise and fall of gas prices. So for that reason, the impact for us is super real. So I know it's totally economic and it might be a vain, but this is the reality. So the question is, what would be the impact of this project that you're doing? If it doesn't happen, what would be the negative impact? And if it does happen, what would be the positive impact? These are the things that you want to really be able to communicate and share with people so that you can really cultivate and garner their attention, really approach whatever it is that you're doing in this area. Now, I went through this, I guess, brainstorming exercise with my buddy here. He's in Indonesia. We're doing this through Facebook. But anyway, I really, I support this guy. If you want to check out what he's doing and maybe even potentially follow his story, it's dar.us.sunnah.org. That's the project. That's the website that he set up, that he's running. And basically, you can, I guess, follow along with his story and what he's got going on. So that, just following a fellow American Muslim who's a convert, expatriate living in Indonesia, kind of building his community. But anyway, but this goes back to you. Whatever project that you got going on and you need to be able to crowdsource and be able to engage with the people around you, consider answering these 7 questions. The first question, whatever you're doing, is it really timely? Question number 2, is there any level of proximity to the people that you're asking? Question number 3, what's new, right? What's novel about it? What's being done that has not been done before? 4 is there anything maybe potentially funny about it? Is there something that could be entertaining or even controversial? Okay, number 5, who's the personality? Question number 6, what's the conflict? What's the struggle? Finally, what would be the impact of this project that you're doing? If it doesn't happen, what would be the negative impact? And if it does happen, what would be the positive impact? Consider answering these 7 questions, and hopefully you'll have a great campaign ahead of you so that you can continue to be successful in what you got to do. May you be blessed with peace, safety, security, and freedom now and in the days to come. I'll see you soon.